mean we ask the community if they want to invest in that project through an app. I'm in China, I want to invest in Paris because I like the project, I'm putting money. What I receive in exchange is coin plus a certain percentage, and then I explain where the coin can be stable, because the goal is to don't go to crypto if we don't solve a problem. So I agree with you. There's no need to go there if there is no problem, or the crypto solve another problem on both sides. So this is the idea. Is we and I come back after that. So now the way I give the security on that coin is that I ask, so the developer will receive a building pretty much for free, but with some condition. The condition number one is that he cannot sell the building. He can rent it, enjoy the money of the rental, that's not a problem. He cannot sell the building because like that the building is pegged to the coin that was created for that. The coin doesn't own the building, but he knows that he's always there as a guarantor of the economy. So he's more a coin backed by an economy than backed by something specific, you know? So like that, every time a building is created for free, or let's say the only way you can have the coin released is through investing in a real estate. There's no other way to have that. So this is where everybody help everybody. So the idea was, I can't have $25 million, $30 million to build a factory. It's difficult. But I have people who are around me who have some money, but they don't have those $30 million just to put that in something that doesn't exist. So I say, let's make an ICO that I call FCO, Factory Coin Offering. That ICO say to the world, it say, hey, the goal of this ICO is not for me to raise the maximum money, it's to raise the money to build the first factory, and a little bit to build the app of investment. And that first factory will prove all that. So now I went to him and I say, hey, you see, you want a project. He has a project in Tuskegee, Alabama, which is really interesting. That also, I'm going to go quick because it's important in the detail. Tuskegee, Alabama is the desert. There's nobody, it's dying, but you have one of the biggest black university is the black university, and he has a historical, Martin Luther King were there to fight it. So it's interesting. But what's happened is Tuskegee, Alabama become important because Hyundai went to build the factory there. So that's it. So it's again an economy. But Hyundai has a problem is that they want to hire 10,000 employees in the next 5 years, and there is no housing. Yeah. So the people who work now at Hyundai, the 1,000 people, 1,500, they have to go drive an hour and a half from Atlanta, from Birmingham, other cities to be able to get there. So they have some kind of a problem on housing. This guy from TPT Global, he go to they say, hey, look, this factory is right now, look at the theory. And I have a secret why it's not a theory. I explained that after. So he said, this factory can do this and this and this and this. So he can build the 10,000 home in the next 5 years. So Tuskegee say, yeah, okay, but I don't have money. We have land as much as you want, but we don't have money. So, but they say, yeah, you don't have money, but you have access to bonds. Bonds. So they say, oh yes, we can sign the bond if the project, but how are you going to sell the bond? So now this guy is really smart. He go to Hyundai and he say, hey, if you want those housing, help me to buy those bonds because you can hold them. It's an asset for you. You don't lose money, but we need cash to build. And Hyundai say, I commit $30 million. So now Tuskegee give them a $50 million bond plus 1,500 acres of land to build those houses, to build the factory, anything they want to. Boom, that's a big asset. So now I say to them, hey, let's help each other. I want to create a currency, a coin. So if you give me $1 million now, which is the cost that I think is going to cost to build that ICO, to make that ICO, lawyers, companies, all that, software programmer, I say, whatever I raise at the factory, I don't need to own the factory. So I give you the factory. So you might end up with a factory for free in this entire project. So that's help each other on advertisement. So the guy say, oh yeah, great. I have $1 million that I can give you out of actually a marketing plan. So he can give me $1 million to work on that. And on top of it, we have a real project where we can build a factory who help actually people in reality who can show what's happened. So that's create a system. So the idea is, and now you enter is really your expertise. The idea is we create 1 billion coin, 10 billion coin. I don't know yet what is the amount. We are calculating the economics of it. Let's say 1 billion coin, who still is monopoly money worth nothing. But we say to the world, hey, we are creating 1 billion coin, but we're going to take 100 million at 50 cents. in the ICO to raise $50 million to build the first factory and to build the app. The value of that is because this factory never will be sold directly, is given to him, he can build everything. The factory can also be the first backup of that project, of the coin. And the reason also, and this is what I study, is more my domain, psychology, is the people who invest in crypto, 60% of their action of doing an investment is usually for the story of the project, more than for the money they're going to make back. For sure, they dream to become rich, but they're going to do the action because the story is really good. And I think we have a good story, even if I haven't had the time to all explain, but we think we have a good story. Because the goal of that is to create a place where the human can, first employment, high-end employment, every building is, let me give you the name like that you understand what is the project. The name of this entire project is decentralized, but maybe we put in parentheses, because but let's call it decentralized. You haven't convinced me the opposite yet. I try to convince you first. So decentralized, net zero, smart turnkey development. That's the name of it. So every word explains what's happened. So decentralized, for the moment we pause. Net zero, it means that every building is zero carbon emission. Zero is all designed by definition, and we do that by hand already. So we know with the factories 100 times.
Net zero. How? So everything you build is not anymore net zero. So you have to compensate it. How you?
The way you compensate the net zero is because that is the way I explain why, to me, concrete is a sustainable material, and people say it's not a sustainable material. If I build a house in wood, who has less carbon emission, and I don't believe it, but less carbon emission than concrete house, but my wood house has to be fixed every 10 years. My concrete house doesn't move for the next 500 years. So what's happened is this house will be carbon zero at the end of the 500 years. Way more less carbon than.
When you build a house of wood, the wood will stay in that house as long as the house is there. And when the house, for example, stays there for 100 years, that is possible with wood, even 700 years old.
The old wood, not the process of today building.
The original wood, and it's neutral only when the wood was there at place at the same time as the same amount of wood could grow.
Yes.
Then it's net zero. So
yes. So what's happened is
your concrete is not growing.
Yeah, but it's not. The house is not concrete. It's only 20% of concrete, and it's a UHPC. So it's the ductile of Lafarge. It's the same of the ductile. So no rebar inside, no metal, and that Lafarge not yet know how to do it, but we finally had that. So you have an element that he create a carbon emission control, if we want to be more precise on this one, through the construction part of it, because it's recycling what exists already. We don't use new container, we use the container already there for the moment. We have a system of recycling paper who does the insulation. So where there is the work on the net zero is also today, no matter which house you build, it needs a certain amount of energy.
Yeah.
Okay, so for cooling, for heating, everything. We have today the proof with all the system we have, and he's the proof of it. We need conservatively 1/4 of the energy of any house.
But it's not net zero, so I'm very pointing on.
No, I understand.
Always,
so the goal is to get to the net zero.
Yes.
The net zero is also the progress, the going toward that net zero. This is why. So at one moment, the factory is not a finished product. It's going to evolve based on the companies, the R&D around, maybe recycle the material to do that. So, for example, one of the material that we create is a papercrete. It's a concrete with recycling paper inside. And right now, it's only recycling paper, but the insulation that we reach thanks to that is like to the roof. This is one of the elements we had to get to that. But that is not a finish. Today, we are working on adding to that 20% of non-recyclable plastic inside. Why? But the problem of this is that if we try to do by ourselves without the factory, we ended up to the same problem of the beginning. I have to convince everyone to use my paper, crete, etc. This is a problem. But here, if I have a certification of the papercrete adding 20% of recyclable plastic, every factory in the world now, in their project, they just add. And my role is also as a hub, thanks to those 15%, is to also add new R&D job and do that. So for example, help every factory legally, financially, to actually harvest that 20%, you know, etc., etc. So this is what is a really ecosystem, a complete ecosystem who become stronger and stronger the more factory are built. That is always like that. It's not one.
Okay.
You see, so that's the post. So this is where the idea is. So now, because you have factories all over the world, you create a currency that can be linked to that economy who never stop to link. And again, because we don't try to become the richest person on earth, if we bring back the value that we put inside, so this is why it's only one project paid by the coin instead of on the 5, and we take 15% of every one of it. We have a certain guarantee, financial, to try to keep a balance on the economy of that coin. If it goes too low, if it tries to go too low, and we can buy it, to keep as a currency. But also we offer to the people the guarantee of, for example, we have to make sure that the number work is of 10% a year. So, and that is a parenthesis because I don't know if it works, so don't point me on this one. So the dream will be that. So if you invest in a real estate, whatever you do with the coin, your coin will always increase 10% a year, as long as you keep it. And the minimum that I can give to you is the value of the that you pay in the beginning plus 10% a year. So for example, if I go to casino, I have $1,000. I exchange that in chips.